And good evening, East Africa. Now, Mambo VP for Tanzania and Kenya. You are on the continent's leading intellectual platform. I tell you, the only tool for warfare on this platform is intellectuality. Now, thank you very much for watching U24. We trust that every time you watch U24, you're inspired, you're motivated, and above all, you are educated. You stay informed. Like tonight, you're going to be informed about the religious policy. Now, I tell you, you should sit back and you want to relax. The man in the chair tonight, before I actually introduce him, last week, the Muslim community was here on the desk, and a lot of you are giving us phone calls about them. We're actually going to have them on the desk some other time after they have finalized with whatever they're doing, and they'll give you their contacts and everything about the Muslim banking. It was a great show. Now, back to tonight's show. You see, there's a scripture that says that let's leave what is apostle.
Caesars.
Oh.
Caesars.
Let's leave what is for Caesar to Caesar, and then for the Lord to the Lord. But the government is saying no. We're extending our long arm even into the Lord's business. They want to regulate churches. But I saw an article where the Reverend Father Lokodo was saying, no, I won't be cowed. I will regulate churches. Now tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be discussing the man in the chair. When I talk about becoming a billionaire overnight, when I talk about customer is never king, when I talk about buying without money, the only name that rings into your ears is none other than the flamboyant, the intelligent Apostle Goodwill Magezi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Shadrach.
How have you been? It's been a while.
Abounding in the call of God.
Abounding in the call of God.
Yes.
You know, I love your play of words. I should be, I don't know, I should be trained in that arena as well.
No, it is the words that you speak define the context of your life.
Okay.
So you have to frame your words well, because they will frame whatever shows up in your life.
How are you? You look elegant. I love the suit, on point ever. How do you even do this?
This is a part of what I do. The work of God that we do ought to be branded.
It ought
the
to
gospel is a message of life that we are selling to the heart of, we want to buy. God is buying the souls of men into his philosophy of life.
Okay, Apostle Goodwill, let's just get into this discussion.
Yes.
Yeah, there has been in the corridors of power and even in churches, this is very controversial. Everyone is talking about the religious policy, In your knowledge, you are a man of God, but you're also very intelligent and informed at that.
It is true.
Do you think government trying to, in your knowledge, do you think government trying to interfere with religion is a good strategy?
Well, I would prefer to mind my business as a man of God.
Yes.
But when government business interferes or crosses my path, then it has become my business. And in this case, whether or not government is intelligent, I'll look at it from the perspective, my perspective as a man or servant of God.
Okay.
The truth is that in my perspective,
yes,
God is bigger than the government of Uganda.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
And what I'm going to say will put government in its place. The finite cannot regulate the infinite.
Okay, yes, that's true.
Simply stated, that would mean that government is trying to take on something that is beyond its resources,
yes,
its ability. The finite cannot regulate the infinite. Infinite being God.
Yes.
God is something supernatural. It's a belief, yes, and it is not something that you can take away from the people that subscribe into whatever beliefs they have chosen. So I would say that government is not only, it is elusive, but what I know is that the motivations of this regulation,
yes,
do not really serve what is prescribed on paper. This bill, I believe, is a political tool. That is why it has come at such a time as this.
Now. Okay.
What I can assure all Ugandans is that this law would be irrelevant, say, post 2021, after the elections.
You're politicking
No,
now.
I'm not politicking.
Yes.
Even if it were me or any other person, if you are in government, you have to lay strategies that favor your cause,
yes,
your position as a government or as a party that wants to entrench itself in power. You do everything, and there is no evil in trying to capture power or keep yourself in power, as long as you serve the interests of your electorate. But I believe that this time government is trying to infringe or use something that is definitely going to work against them. It is just trying to use religion as a political tool in these elections. Only that this time they are enforcing it using a legislation.
Apostle, before you actually nail government on the cross, there is something that is very important that is stipulated in the policy.
Yes.
They say we have people who are actually not trained to handle people. Yeah? And this brings me to my next question.
Yes.
Do you think it is good for government to actually bring up something like religious leaders should get theological training? Because at the end of the day, for anyone who is handling people, they must have that expertise. Yeah. So I want to understand the mind of government that, okay, we want our people properly handled in the right way. So go and get theological training. What do you think?
What I really think is that government is just using some vulnerable group of people to take advantage of the loopholes within their relationships, but there is already existing laws within the constitution that govern how Ugandans should relate in every forum. You're talking about people in this scope of operation not being well trained, so as to offer the services, say, of a man of God, to the people of God. But let me also bring this to light. What has government done, for example, to regulate businessmen? There are so many businessmen who have never had any form of business education, and yet these are some of the biggest taxpayers. So many in the informal business sector could be one of the biggest tax brackets in Uganda. But if you went down, say, to the informal business sector down in Chikubo, you'll find that they are hardly, out of you could get probably 1% or 2%, if you're lucky, of people who have studied some course in a business, so that they should be qualified by government to do business. But are they law-abiding citizens?
Yes, they are.
The reason that they are law-abiding citizens and yet they have never acquired any courses in business is because there is a constitution that is already framed on how any business should relate with the market.
Okay.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
So, and I think if government were serious about it, they should be looking at regulating, for example, the businessmen. There are so many businessmen who have cheated each other. There are so many banks, even institutions. Banks, there are so many telecom companies, and there are so many on the other side, customers who are cheating telecom companies, who are cheating. But there is already a framework, a constitutional framework, to regulate their relationships. That has not fallen short. So I don't see why government should isolate and try to jump onto the scope of religion as if it were the most crucial element at such a time as this. But again, it will take me back to what I first said. Religion is about belief. And you see, people are driven and governed by their beliefs. They make choices based on their beliefs. It is a foundational aspect of their livelihood. So if you can get a law that can drive the beliefs of people to your advantage, you can use that law successfully to your advantage.
Okay, Apostle, I'm going
that
for
is
a short break.
I'm saying that in light of the season we are in. It's a season of politics. I am not
But Apostle, politicking.
I am not for or against the status quo, that is the government.
Yes.
But I'm only showing that this religious bill is really a political tool.
Okay.
And it is not evil to use politics, religion to your advantage. But you should come out clearly for a win-win situation. In this case, this religious policy or regulation is not any beneficial both to government and to the people who are to be regulated.
Okay, Apostle, let me go for
it
a
is
short
still
break.
born,
We come back and we still tackle that. However, Apostle, you're politicking.
I'm not a politician, I'm a man of God. Not at all.
Okay.
We are here to guide the people of God.
Okay.
You see, when I say that the finite cannot regulate the infinite, it means that God is bigger than politics. So there is no way that God will not prevail in the affairs of men in the earth. That is what the Bible is about. God himself is a monarch. God, and so many people try to evade that. But God is a politician. Okay. God is a king. He's called the King of Kings. So there is no way you can take God. God will always have to come in. We are not talking about a sleepy, dormant God somewhere.
Yes.
Who will not interfere in how the affairs of men or kingdoms or governments run. Because it is the beliefs that people espouse that govern who they choose to lead them.
Okay, Apostle, let me go for a short break. Then when we come back, God has to interfere in politics. That is the Apostle. Every time he comes to the desk, we are fiery. Now we are still with him, and remember, we're still broadcasting live here at our new home, at Danube Home. I tell you, it is up to 20% discount. Walk in Danube Home, Kampala Road. If you want the most authentic leather, do you want nice beds, do you want kitchenware, homeware? Look no further. Come to Danube Home, Kampala Road, opposite Shell or opposite KCB Bank. Now I tell you, we are still with the billionaire Apostle, and we are becoming billionaires after the show. Do not go away. And welcome back to the second segment of this very insightful episode. And it's also social, where we are tackling religion. Now I tell you, we are still with the man in the chair. Whenever this man comes to the desk, intellectuality in terms of religion is at display. Now don't forget, we are still at Danube Home, Kampala Road. Now you can follow this discussion on our social media platforms. That is the Desk 256 for Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can still do the same for Shadrach Kisame. Just go to Facebook, like the page, do the same for Instagram and Twitter. You can also follow Danube Home, same thing, and also at Apostle Goodwill Magezi. These days, men of God are on social media. You guys are trending.
It is true. You know, it would be foolish for us to bury our heads in the sand in such a time as this. This is the information age.
Okay.
And so, as the Bible says that in the last days, knowledge shall abound.
Okay.
And that is synonymous with the information age.
Okay.
So, as times change, we in the business of spreading the gospel, preaching the gospel, must also adjust ourselves to fit within the framework of the times in which we live. So this, we must find ways of propagating the gospel, because you will find that the whole population is on mobile phone, is on the internet, is on social media. That means that we shall not be able to catch them or spread our agenda, propagate our agenda without taking advantage of social media.
Apostle, we are digressing, but let's get back into it. Before we actually get back into it, Apostle Goodwill Magezi is from Zoe Ministries. Did I get that right?
Zoe Fellowship.
Zoe Fellowship.
Led by Prophet Elvis.
Led by Prophet Elvis Mbonye. Now, does your prophet, what is your prophet's take on the religious policy before you even get back there?
A prophet will not have that religious policy. It is an infringement on our liberties to worship our God as prescribed in the Bible, which is the code that guides our operations.
So you've had Prophet Elvis Mbonye is against the religious policy officially.
Totally against the religious policy. We do not need another regulation because the constitution that is already in place suffices to meet the regulation that is required.
Okay.
For us.
Regulation required. In the policy, there's somewhere that says that they will verify and certify churches or ministries. What do you think? You're a man of God. Shadrach somewhere is called by God, like men of God, the way you say, I have been called, so I open up a church. So Shadrach somewhere in Chikuba Mutwe is called, and I open up my church. Do you think it is fair, or is it right for government to come and, give me, like, ask me for maybe URA tax, what and what and what, so that they certify me
Shadrach,
as a church?
You talked about digressing.
Yes.
But again, for me, I will always shoot down this policy from the foundation.
Okay.
And I will always show you that this policy is a political tool, and that is why it has been framed and brought up at such a time as this, as we get into a season of elections.
Okay.
So without understanding that, all the other arguments, propositions they are baseless.
Okay.
You have to understand that this religious policy is a political tool that the government is using to take advantage of the people that are established in these various religious affiliations.
Okay.
This is why, if this policy were to be brought up in, let us say, in the middle of 2021,
yes,
you'd find that the government would not have any urge to push it. The reason being that it is being brought up at such a time as this to favor the political agenda of the status quo.
But you're so confident about that. In my head, I'm thinking
the reason I also say that,
of power.
No, the reason I say that is because when I look into the status quo, the regulation of religion as it stands, there are sufficient laws within the constitution to cater for all your concerns.
Okay.
There are already existing laws that define who should be certified, that regulate who should lead where. Those laws are there.
Okay.
And then secondly, like I told you, the finite cannot regulate the infinite. Belief is supernatural.
Okay.
Now, you cannot use the natural again to regulate the supernatural.
Okay.
For example, we believe in the Bible. The Bible is a book of the supernatural. We believe in supernatural healing. Okay. We believe in supernatural prosperity.
Actually, now, the government has a problem with that. You people are actually faking it.
Now,
we see on TVs every day, and someone was actually telling me the other day, I would love to say, I am a born-again Christian. Yes. And but someone was telling me, Shadrach, you bring people who are walking and they pretend like they're lame and then everything. And government has a problem with that. People are being duped.
And the other thing that you have to say is that you cannot impose a law based on one sector. What thus far we have discussed, you realize that the policy is lopsided. It is targeted towards the born-again clique because it is the most vulnerable at such a time as this.
And it's growing. I saw statistics, it was from 4%. Now we're actually at 12, something like that.
But what people have to understand is that this religious policy does not only affect born-again sect. It affects every religious belief. It affects the Catholics. It affects the Muslims. It affects the traditionalists. Now, what we are saying is there is already enough provision to regulate, to legally spell out whatever requirements are needed to guide.
Apostle Goodwill, you are a parent, right? You are a father.
Yes.
You have your probably 16-year-old boy. That's when adolescence comes in. And this boy says, no, Dad, whatever you're doing, what you set up rules and I'm following them and I'm perfectly fine, but you're seeing him going wee way. And you're like, I want you to grow up the right way. He's like, no, Dad, this is how I've always been. I've not changed. Is that how you guys are trying to say? Because the government is seeing you going wee way and you guys are not actually accepting it.
You see, belief is also a fundamental human right. You cannot take that right from me. Okay. This is why you have traditionalists. This is why you have Muslims. Okay. This is why you have Catholics.
Buddhists.
And we have the liberty to worship the way we worship within the framework of the constitution.
Okay.
Now, what government is trying to do is to curtail our belief and determine for us what we should believe out of the Bible.
Okay.
For example, how can you impose, how can you impose someone who does not believe in the supernatural to be the one in charge of regulating people who believe in the supernatural? For example, the proponent of that belief, Father Simon Lokodo, does not believe in supernatural healing. The Bible clearly prescribes supernatural healing. Now, how can you impose? Now, the liberty, you cannot really.
I'm thinking, no, Apostle Goodwill, I'm thinking Father Simon Lokodo was given that office because he has the expertise way past what he believes. That's what I'm thinking. Is it a belief, a personal belief thing, or it is because, you know, I'm an expert at this, so I'm not putting feelings and what I believe in perspective?
You see now, that is infringing on our right to worship, which is laid out in the Constitution. A man who does not believe in the supernatural, and yet he even says he believes in the Bible, how can he then regulate the people of the book called the Bible? It's, first of all, it is very wrong. It is very wrong for government to impose someone. It is basically imprisoning.
Apostle, who is the perfect person for you to be the minister for ethics?
The minister of ethics should be someone who is focused on the most pertinent issues of the corruption that is eating up government.
Now, on that note, I'm going for a short break, and then when I come back, we shall dive in more and more. I tell you, guys, it is getting heated up. You see, when this man is on the desk, we are sweaty, but because of intellectuality and information. Now, I tell you, do not go away. We are still on the desk, the continent's leading platform for intellectuality. Do not go away. Now, if you've just joined us, we have Apostle Goodwill Magezi from Zoe Ministries on the desk. And I tell you, you've missed the first two segments. They've been fiery. But nonetheless, you can catch the last one. But after this one, I tell you, we're not coming back for today. Now, thank you very much for watching the desk. We are still at our brand new home. We are up to 20% discount. Festive season. Danube Home. Now, for you, are you a startup person? And you know, you just want to start your Muzigo down there, and maybe you just want to change your furniture. Danube Home is the place for you. Affordable prices, and they actually have 20% discount. Just walk in, lovely people, lovely atmosphere. And I tell you, you can follow the discussion on our social media platforms. We're still there, and the number on your screen, please do not call. We shall not pick up. Just send your WhatsApp and we shall reply to you, because we're actually live. So if you call, I can't pick up. I mean, I'm on the show. So we are still with Apostle Goodwill Magezi. And after here is the movie. My producer told me the movie that is coming up here is actually very nice. You don't want to miss it. Personally, after here, I'm going to go and watch the movie after here. Apostle Goodwill Magezi. The policy. Before we actually even go to the policy, the small churches that are starting, inside actually the policy, government would have them close up and join you, the big dogs like Zoe Ministries. So for me, if I have a church somewhere down in Chibuli, I'll close it up and join Zoe Ministry, because Zoe Ministry is big and it's rich. Is that a good thing?
The fairness of any law would depend on its universality.
Okay.
So I'll take that question right into the business community and see how it would universally apply. For government to close up small businesses and order them to merge with bigger businesses. That is unconstitutional. It is unlawful. It is a rogue government that would do that.
Okay.
So having seen it from that perspective, you can see that government is now only trying to do this to their own advantage. To their own advantage. And why do I say to their own advantage? Belief is compulsive. Now, government has its own agenda and its own programs.
Okay.
Now, having failed by its own institutions, to propagate and promote its own programs.
Yes.
Government realizes that the most compulsive institution is religion, because people, when a person subscribes to religion, they are compelled to follow through to the T what their religious leaders tend to tell them.
Okay.
Now, this, a minute.
Okay.
This being a season of politics.
Yes.
What does government, yes, because for me, I have to shoot down that policy for what it is.
Okay.
This being a political season,
yes.
What government, no, I want, well, government should come clean, and because there is no evil in using religion as a political tool. It is okay. But as long as is, number one, is government favoring the mandate of whichever religious segment is concerned? If government, if it's a win-win, then government should sell its proposition to the churches, to the mosque, to the traditional healers. But government is trying to bring in this thing in a clandestine way. Now, what that simply means, it is trying to bind, first of all, to impose on religious leaders, to arm twist them so that they may propagate and extend their programs through these religious institutions to which people are bound. So that the people, having received it from their religious leaders or traditionalists, will be compelled to follow through. What government has not utilized is its arms and institutions. We have the office of the IGG, for example, to clamp down corrupt officials and to bring all civil servants to the book in case they fall out of the prescribed pattern.
Yes.
But now, being dysfunctional, that is in regard to the IGG's office, being dysfunctional, that is in regard to the police, being dysfunctional, because these institutions are not functioning as effectively as the government would have them
but
in promoting.
But you know, Apostle Goodwill, dysfunctional is a very big word. You know, they will come and tell you, I mean, what you're
this
trying
is
to
the
say.
reason I say that they are dysfunctional. Government would now not be imposing the mandate. Government would not be carrying the functions of what the IGG is supposed to do, or what their Ministry of Information is supposed to do, or their arms of propaganda are supposed to do, and now bringing it to be propagated within religious institutions. That means that, you see, all these arms of government are well financed. But you see, because of the corruption that is entrenched in these arms of government, they are not able to convey the result as prescribed by their bosses. So what will government do? Government will look for another effective channel of propagating their propaganda. I'm telling you that religion or whatever belief is a very powerful tool in propagating propaganda.
Okay.
That is why government in such a time as this, in an election season, is targeting a law which can regulate and force religious organization to be a propagator of their agenda. That is why you find that in that law, they are telling you that there will be you will have to apportion sometime where you have to talk about government programs.
Yes.
Say if you're a church, even like.
But isn't it a good thing? Isn't it a good thing? This is our government.
No, everyone has a right. Because if I don't believe in what the government is doing, why should I be a proponent using my that infringes on my right? Now imagine, say you are a traditional healer, you have your shrine, and they're telling you that you'll have to apportion a segment whenever your customers come. You have to apportion a segment in your shrine to tell the customer about Bonaba Gagore. Now, some of the people who go to shrines go there because they need money, go there because they need supernatural prosperity. Now imagine the person has come seeking supernatural prosperity, for example, which the Bible prescribes. The Bible clearly says that I will give you riches you did not labor for. Are you getting it? Now, the government is propagating something contrary to that. They do not believe in supernatural prosperity. They do not believe in supernatural healing. Now, wouldn't it be shooting myself in the foot?
Yes.
For me, at the beginning, I'm saying that you must believe that by his stripes you were healed. And he took all your sicknesses and infirmity. That if you believe that, you shall be delivered from your sicknesses and infirmity. And then in the next breath, I'm shooting down the same thing that I've preached.
Apostle Goodwill, our time is really running out, but there's something very interesting I want to ask you. You're the billionaire apostle.
Yes.
My following on the desk, when they see you, they just know that man is making us a billionaire overnight. There's a segment in the policy that talks about you declaring your wealth and where it came from. Now, for you, a billionaire. What you agenda downtown, or what company do you have that shows your money? I mean,
now let me.
Is this why you're fighting it?
Let me take it.
Because you don't want to tell us where your money came from.
Let me take the bull by the horn.
Yes.
Now you're saying I don't want the government to know where my money came from.
Yes.
But let me clarify this. Being a billionaire or being poor is a mindset.
Okay.
Are you getting it?
Again, like last time.
And it is true when you say that by the time this show ends,
people are going to be billionaires.
If you adopted my way of thinking of philosophy, it is by the philosophy that I espouse that I get the result or the experience of life that I have.
Okay.
He says, let this mind be in you, which one? It is the mindset that produces the result. So it is actually, anyone can be a billionaire. Being a billionaire or being rich is a mindset, as much as being poor is a mindset wherewith you are told you are a third world citizen. You are born poor. You're like all those ideas.
But does that take away the reality that Uganda is a third world country, apostle?
Such were some of us until I changed the way I see myself, the way I think, the things
apostle,
that
you're
define
not a third world citizen.
I am not a third world citizen.
But you stay with me here.
No, I'm a citizen of heaven. This one, you see, now
it is the apostle in the house.
Until what you believe becomes so radical as to sound blasphemous, whether in the political terrain, whether in the religious terrain, then you are still in the realm of carnality or unbelief. Because the Bible clearly says that we are not of this world. But how many Christians believe that? The Bible says that we are a royal priesthood, that God is our inheritance, that we are heirs of God. Do you know what the word an heir means?
Enlighten me.
An heir is a person who takes over another's estate. You know, when a person dies, for example, in the natural scene, if your father were a king and he passed away, you'd be the heir to the throne. Yes. That means that everything, all the riches, everything that he accomplished, his legacy, his status, his wealth is imputed unto you. You become the bearer, you become the owner of everything that left behind. Now, the Bible clearly says that the children of God, the Christians, are heirs of God.
Yes.
Now, what does God own? This God of the Bible says that the earth and the fullness thereof belongs to God. The hotels upon 1,000 hills belong to God, of whom I am the heir. Now, God, my Father, does not have need of these 5-star hotels. God, my Father, does not have need of these factories. But the Bible clearly says that they belong to Him. What does that make me in this world? It makes me more than a billionaire. It would be even, it implies that you're even reducing me, because a billionaire is a natural tag.
Okay.
Because God is more than a billionaire.
Okay.
God is more than a trillionaire. He owns everything. Of which God it is said, I am the heir. So does
Apostle,
it
wrap it up? Apostle, wrap it up.
Why
do you have a problem then declaring your wealth?
Because now, my wealth is infinite. Because I am the heir of God. These are the things that we prove. Because first is the belief. Okay. Now, this is the belief system that government wants to curtail, because it's also in the interest of government to keep people in a certain place, because you see, the rich rule over the poor. The day you discover your wealth in God, it will be hard for government to impose on you. Because these are Bible beliefs. The rich rule over the poor. So as you overcome poverty, as you overcome certain levels of whether it is you will find that you have greater freedom to express yourself, for your opinion to be heard, because money answers all things. When I want to be on TV, I'll be there.
Yes.
When I want to fly to America, I'll go there.
Yes.
When I want to live in America, I'll go and live there because I can afford it.
Yes.
But before manifestation or the experience was the frame of mind. Now, that is why this religious policy is so evil. It is trying to curtail on the way people believe or think about themselves. It is trying to keep them in a place of servitude or poverty. It is satanic.
Okay, Apostle, these are your last words. You're going to look in that camera and tell those lawmakers what you think generally about the law policy, and we shall call it a wrap.
I would like to inform whichever lawmakers they are or perpetrators of this satanic policy. Or I call it satanic. Anything satanic is that which deprives people of their lives, which takes away their liberty to relate to the God they serve or deity they serve. I would like to tell them that there is a more excellent way. There is a way of light. Light. This is what the Bible says, that the light came, but men chose darkness. I would like to tell the lawmakers, I would like to inform whoever the perpetrators, the propagators of this law are, is that there is a more excellent way of persuading people into your ideology or systems of government other than this. We do not need another law which infringes, which curtails the liberties, the prosperity of the people of God. And as long as we have the liberties that the Constitution has given us, we shall see to it that we voice our concerns and we continue. I won't say resist, because this thing has really cannot prevail against the will of God for this nation.
Okay, Apostle Goodwill, it is a wrap. Thank you very much, sir, for coming.
Thank you, Shadrach.
Every time I call you, you're not like these other. I have intellectuals that tell you, I'm out of the country. For you, when I call you, you respond and you come and preach you literally preach Jesus on the show. And this is business and economics. So the next time you'll actually pay, because this is economics.
Paying is not a problem as long as I get the value for the money.
Yeah. All right, now it's a wrap. Thank you very much for watching The Desk. We have had the main man himself, Apostle Goodwill Magezi. Ladies and gentlemen, I love this gentleman for one reason, because when he comes here, we are all stirred up and we hit two birds with one stone. We talk spiritual intellectuality and we also talk business. Now, for you who is out there and you're thinking about you're supporting the government, I think you need to think back and take a back step and get to the winning team. Apostle Goodwill has said this thing is not actually it's not going to sustain, not going to pass through. So it's actually a loss. Now, from me and the entire U24 management, would love to sign out. Would love to say good night, good luck, adios, for God and my country. God bless Uganda.